Hey guys, it's Corey again. We are continuing through Prerak Garg's presentation from Imagine AI that he did a few weeks ago. Anyhow, he's got some pretty good insights built into this presentation, and I think it's worth looking at. So the next one is just how do we manage this change, more or less? What are we going to do, and how do we, not just take advantage of it, but how do we fit into it and produce things that are useful and help people?
So what it means for all of us. First of all, the product needs are very diverse. Every company in every industry will need to think through how large language models will influence and apply in their industry. Every industry is very different, and that's where the opportunity is also there. You are the closest to the needs of your customers. You have to think about, building new products and services for your specific use case. For example, in financial services, BlackRock is using LLMs to predict the outcome of earnings calls on the stock market. Similarly, in retail, Instacart is using large language models to give personalized recommendations to their customers. Similarly, there are hundreds of use cases that different companies are exploring, and I would encourage you all to also think about how you can use AI to build amazing products and services that you sell to your customers. So not only for productivity, but how you can transform your products and services. And I think that's where the real opportunity is. So as I said, there are two ways. One is, yes, you can use these co-pilots, these agents, and improve productivity, become more efficient at what you're doing in your daily lives. But more importantly for your businesses, now you have to think about how I use generative AI and reimagine the products and services that I've been building so far. And I wanted to leave you all with a framework if you're thinking about building AI. And a lot of people have actually talked to me, okay, how do I think about infusing generative AI in my business, in my product? Do I go very wide? Customers are asking for a lot. So I want to talk about how we did it for GitHub Copilot, which has become a blockbuster product. It's probably the fastest and most successful Copilot out there. So the framework is simple. Find it, nail it, and scale it. So first of all, find a very high value use case. For example, for GitHub, saving time for developers was a very valuable activity. We could totally see that every company will find it valuable. Second, you have to balance value with time to market, because if you want to pack a lot of features in the MVP, then you will be late to market. At the same time, if you deliver very little value, then people will not use your product. So you have to find that delicate balance, find the right use case. And then instead of being mile wide and inch deep, you focus on one use case and really nail it down. What it means is you meet the customers where they are. So don't expect customers to change the workflow for you. When we were building GitHub Copilot, we build it as a plugin to meet the developers where they are. It's a plugin into developer environments. So if you're coding, you're in the flow, you don't have to change the workflow. Similarly, when you're building your initial product, think about the workflow and meet the customers where they're already in the workflow. And once you have that product market fit, it'll give you permission to sort of expand to other use cases as well and completely transform the customer experience. And at that time, you can think about, okay, how can I completely reimagine the workflow using AI? Finally, when you think about scaling, you have to think about pricing and cost. Pricing is very important because these products are very compute intensive. So they don't follow the same old SaaS cost model, if you will. When we launched GitHub Copilot, we went with the old industry standard per user per month pricing because that was easy for the developers to understand and it was predictable. And once you have early traction, then you can, of course, evolve the pricing models as you add more features to your product. And lastly, when you think about cost, maybe you start with GPT-4 because it doesn't make sense to sort of build your own custom model when you're just starting up a new business. Most of the startups don't have the resources to build their own model in the beginning, and that's the fundamental shift that has been caused by generative AI. Like any company now can build AI products. You start with GPT-4, but once you have product market fit, maybe you want to now use a mix of models. You diversify your model mix a little bit because you want to maybe use a standard narrow model for a very standard task like summarization, for example. There is no use for GPT for that. So you can really reduce your costs that way. So wanted to leave you with some final thoughts as you think about these use cases. First of all,
I guess we could continue through that. The one thing that I wanted to point out here is, he used a lot of terms from lean startups and lean functions, and really that's what a lot of these companies are doing. Air included is, doing what's called a MVP, is a minimum viable product. So you're trying to find something that you can provide a high value and get your kind of your foot in the door, balancing value with time to market, and doing just a few things well. And then you generate that, and you really try to match what the consumer wants, which is exactly what he's talking about here. And you don't overshoot the tech or the customer, which means you're providing, I would say, you're providing enough value that the customer is willing to entertain it, but you can't change their workflow. It's easy to adopt by minimizing change. So this is really somewhat of this is like a lean startup kind of function, and really that's honestly what everybody's doing in AI is the lean startup. So then you start getting some revenue, and then you're able to use that revenue to build more functionality into your product, and then you just kind of you've got a prioritized list of value and time savings options over here. You're bringing it in the minimum viable product where it's going to really impact, but not have a lot of extra features, bloat, so to speak. You're not building it out like the old way of build it all out, and when one huge release, you're bringing on some functionality, bringing on a few customers, and then using the funds from that to feed back into this process. And sometimes you're just right here. You're adding more functionality that you already know is needed, but you're just right there instead of going back to the beginning and trying to find more things that more areas to apply it. So anyway, we'll listen to his final thoughts here and move on.
So wanted to leave you with some final thoughts as you think about these use cases. First of all, think about what is the useful thing that you used to do is no longer useful. For example, if you're a product manager, maybe generating user journeys can be done out of the box by these AI tools. So that's not a very valuable skill to have. Second, what is the impossible thing that you can do now? I talked about healthcare and how it is transforming healthcare even with a very simple use case, but it was not possible earlier. Third, can you move to a wider market? There are a lot of consulting companies here. You're serving very elite clients, but can you productize your services in a way that you can actually serve a wider market rather than just a few top companies? And lastly, can you also punch above your weight? Like if you're a small marketing company or a small consulting company, now with AI, as we talked about, it's helping you close these skill gaps. Maybe now you can punch above your weight and move up market with a different set of offerings. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much, and I'll be here if you have any questions. Happy to.
So his final thoughts here, this, move up market or personalize, that's really a good point, because with AI, as we talked about earlier in the earlier presentations, with AI, you have got, smaller teams are bigger. The smaller teams are able to do more work. They're punching above their weight by a long shot, and you're going to have a lot of small companies that they bring a lot of capability. A lot of you move AI together, like conversational voice AI, such as Air. You pair that with automation, and you can build an entire automated suite of things that. Just the power of a large team is suddenly available to a small small group or small person, even a one man business. So anyway, I think this is really interesting, and I think comparing what the changes that AI has brought to this, just incredible, absolutely incredible.